have been in a long-term relationship, drop one word in the chat that describes what marriage feels like on ordinary days. I just want you to do that. If you're married, just drop and let me know what marriage feels like on ordinary days, not anniversaries or date nights. Because anniversaries and date nights, also some of us can stay in those locks. On our anniversary, he took me out, but now he has not taken me out. There are some people who stay locked up in those events or those days. So not on anniversaries, not on date nights, but just normal days. Those of you who are married, just drop in the comment something for us. It's a live chat, guys. Just drop and let us know what marriage is for you on an ordinary day. Otherwise, if whatever your response is, marriage isn't fireworks every day, I will say. It isn't fireworks every day. It's learning to find warmth in the quiet, because those quiet times will come. But it's also learning how to find warmth in the quiet times when things are not so loud. Yeah, the real work, building, not belonging. Yeah. Now let's talk about the work part that is in the marriage bit. Marriage is not just about belonging to someone. It is not just about that. Some of us are quick even to say, I want to get married. I want to get married so you can belong to someone, or he can belong to you. It is not just about belonging to someone, but it's about building something together, something that I've seen people who go to anniversaries and they are like, oh my goodness, I want us also to have that car, to live in that house. Those people had to tussle it out and make it work when all the odds were against them. That's why you see them and you want to have what they have. But it doesn't mean it came easy for them. They had to put in a lot to stay married and for you to celebrate with them the anniversary. So like I said, marriage is not just about belonging to someone. It's about building something together, building a home together, building trust, building emotional safety together, where you can feel free to be yourself. Now that emotional safety doesn't come on the wedding day. No, I need to feel safe with you and be like, okay, when she sees me, laugh so loud, I hope she won't be scared of. It gets to that place where you can really be free and let down your guard. During the lockdown, like I was saying, many relationships broke up simply because we are not used, especially us in Africa. We are not used to being real. We pretend a lot. The men on the budget and wallet side, they pretend like money is that easy for them. They can spoil you anytime. And us ladies, we act as if we are the sweetest thing that you've ever seen. And so it's easy for you to propose and for us to accept, because the wallet is heavy and I'm good on the behavior side. So we marry. But in the lockdown, people could not stay together. Why? Because they did not take time to get to know each other. Those things that really build a marriage. And so when we were locked in tight space, some people felt like they were suffocating. They felt like they had to go out regardless of what the government had declared. They wanted to go out and be away from home. So it all starts at a place where we have to put in the effort. Like I said, building trust, building emotional safety, building our home together. So if you are a wife, you need to put in some effort and make it, work for you and your husband. Otherwise, if we just focus on me now and how things are going for me, then if we all, like I said, if you remember where we started off from, it's you like this, it's me like this, and we have to merge on the wedding day and become one person. Does this look one to you? It doesn't. It looks off. But over time, after the wedding day, then we start all that tussle, the beating up for you, you making room for me to fit, and me making room for you to find your place and comfort with me. That is building a home. That is building trust. That is building emotional safety. You both come in with different bringings, habits, and expectations about marriage. Remember, it doesn't go away because you've gotten married or the wedding day has happened. It doesn't. Sometimes those worlds collide, where my life was so free. I had everything I wanted. I was treated as a princess. You grew up in like an army officer and you were, denied many of the privileges that I had freely growing up. So how do we make it work beyond the wedding? You, me like this, you like this. How do we become one? How do we forge a life together? It may not be easy. Remember, you're like this, I'm like that. The very first times we are fighting, we are exchanging words. But once we realize that it's about building our home, building trust, building emotional safety, then we start working. The moment that clicks, then we start fitting in place. I make room for you, your mess, your short temper, your love for quiet, all that, we make room. And before you know it, it is working and it's surviving. An example, if one partner grew up in a home where conflict was silent, they avoid it. They grew up in a home where people raised voices. They see arguing as normal. These are two different people. One who grew up where conflict was quiet. They don't talk about things. Another one grew up in a place where, conflict, in a home where people raised voices. They see arguing as normal. Those are two different people. When they disagree, one shuts down and the other explodes, because these are two different people. I grew up where you just be quiet about things. And the man grew up where, you exchange words. It's vocal, it's loud. Yeah. My goodness, when they get married. Now, when they disagree, one shuts down and the other explodes. Not because they are incompatible, but because they were never taught how to disagree safely. That is just purely it. And that's where real marriage starts. Learning each other's emotional language, because there is that emotional language where you get to know your person and you're like, okay, when she's quiet, it means I wronged her. So you dig up because you care. You dig up to find out what did you do wrong, so that you can, make amends and have a thing that goes on beyond the wedding. Because I want you to marry me, guess what? You may never annoy me. Even when you do things that are annoying, I could look the other way. But after the wedding, the patience wears out. I cannot stand you any minute. I want to just explode and hit you with a frying pan, That happens. But we were not prepared for a life beyond the wedding day. The wedding could happen today. And I know of a lady who got married, and 2 weeks into the marriage, she was like, I'm ready to go. And everyone was like, but how come you're ready to leave when you've just gotten married? I mean, the onlookers are a bit surprised. Why? Because they see the glam, the glitz on the wedding. And then after that, it's, I'm leaving. You're like, what are you talking about? The dust has not even settled about your wedding and you're already ready to hang the towels. So it's not easy for us to understand that we need to be prepared mentally for that life beyond the wedding. So if you're watching this with your partner, take a moment after this live, ask each other a question, guys. How did your family handle conflict growing up? You can ask each other, how did your family handle conflict growing up? That is if they have one. But if they don't, still you would know where that person grew up from. How would they handle conflict? It will open your eyes to why you each react the way you do. Because we all react differently. Now, I would give an example. I grew up without a dad. I am so different from my husband. But remember, marriage is not about perfection. My husband grew up with a mother and father. So his picture is painted differently. Now, I come in. I'm a rebellious woman. I want things done my way. Why? Because, I grew up with my mom. She would give me all that I needed. So why can't you give it to me? So there is that aspect, because we grew up in different homes. How do we make it work beyond the wedding? Yeah. Growth and change, loving the evolving person. Because you need to get to that place where you love the evolving person. Like I said, this segment is called growth and change. This is where you love the evolving person, the one who is not exactly what you wanted, but is trying to be that person that you want. One of the biggest surprise about marriage is that the person you married will change and so will you. That is one of those surprises that are going to happen the moment you get married. The person you married will change. Probably their tolerance of you, before they would be like, okay, she has not called, it's okay. Then it now starts to count because he didn't call or she didn't call. And yet before, it didn't really count that much. As long as, he came and picked you after work, you were tolerant. But the moment you get married, some things just change. So like I said, you will go through several shifts, like family pressure. When I say family pressure, where the parents come in or the relatives, they want to visit and you're not ready, or you get an argument, he goes off to the family, the relatives, or you go off to your relatives. So there will be that family pressure coming in, personal growth, where you get to realize, oh, so when you are a man and you're married, she expects you to take out the rubbish. Oh, so when I'm married, I'm expected to cook and clean. Some of these things will hit. Like I said, personal growth. You will start to grow as an individual. And that is why I said, believe it or not, you will change and so will he while you're married, beyond after the wedding. Even the other thing that will happen will be maybe even faith transition. If this person was a born-again Christian and you were a Catholic, this person will either change you or you will convert to them, because you get to realize the good in them and you're like, okay, I'll try that as well. Or if they are Muslims and you are a Christian. So all this happens as we get married and beyond the wedding day. An example, a couple I once knew got married in their early 20s. Yeah. She was carefree, but he was ambitious. By their 30s, she had become more career driven. The lady wanted to work, and you could not talk about her staying at home and having kids. You couldn't. He wanted a slower pace kind of life, but the lady was more career oriented. Remember, they got married in their 20s, but in 30s, it was something else. Like, she was really, really now in her zone. She had realized she can't put her life on hold for the sake of the relationship. And so she decided that I want to pursue my career more. Now, he wanted a slower pace, like I said. They loved each other, but they hadn't learned how to adopt to who the other was becoming. Because like I said, we change as we get married. He changes, you change, or she changes, he changes. Now, he had not adopted to who she had become or she was becoming. Marriage isn't just about loving who they were at the altar. It is not that. I mean, you could love the way I looked at the altar. My waist was all in and my hair was in place. My nails were done. My skin was on point. No, marriage is not that. It's not loving who they were at the altar. It's about learning to love who they are becoming every season. Because seasons will come in your marriage and people are change every single time. Now, who are people becoming in every season is key, because you met me when I was just after school, out of school. Now I've become a mother. Oh my goodness, I need to make room for these babies that just came in. Or you had just gotten married to me out of school, you didn't have a job. Now you have a job and responsibility, the responsibilities that are pulling at you at work. So we need to also put that into consideration. Now, reflection on this one. Think about one way you've changed in the last 5 years. Would your younger self even recognize you? Because if you thought of it that way, then you would really be more real at this and be like, would my younger self recognize me for the years that back in 5 years, or 5 years from now, would my younger self recognize me? Would your younger self even recognize you now? Because if you are, say, like 19 and got married at 19, 5 years later, would your younger self recognize that? That goes to show you how we change and how we go through seasons. Now, that's powerful, and that's exactly why flexibility, communication, and compromise are vital in a